So here's a question. Do you think that the ADA, otherwise known as the American Diabetes Association, has the best interest in heart for diabetics? Let's find out. Hey guys, my name is Susan and welcome to my channel. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for your subscription. In this video, I want to show you a few recipes that I found on the ADA's website, and I want to show you what they recommend for a diabetic's A1C. This way we can determine if the ADA really does have a diabetic's interest at heart. Right. So the first recipe I want to show you is called beef stroganoff. Now I remember having this as a kid in the form of hamburger helper. It's always full of noodles. And so that's a red flag already, but let's look at the nutrition label. So here we have in this recipe 5 servings. Okay. And per serving, it has a total carbohydrate count of 29 grams. Okay. So let's be realistic here. If you're honest with yourself, if you was eating this, would you just be able to eat just one serving of that? Probably not. You might actually would have two, and some people would probably, dare say, eat the whole thing in one sitting, and that's an addiction to carbs. But and that's not saying anything bad about somebody, but in reality, I don't see anyone eating just 1/5 and being done, especially since carbohydrates are not filling. So what we're going to do here is this diabetic, whoever eats this, is probably going to have at minimum 58 grams of carbs, because I'm thinking that most would have at least 2 servings worth. Okay. And then, as you might know, or if you don't know, when you're eating the carbs, you spike your insulin really high, and then it comes back down and it makes you hungry, which is why people who eat a heavy carbohydrate diet, they have to eat 3, 4, 5 times a day because they're always hungry. It's because that massive insulin spike that they give themselves. So whoever is eating this recipe, sure enough, they're going to be eating again. And I bet that also will have carbs in it as well. So this won't even be the total carbs they have for the day. And as a diabetic, I highly recommend, if you're trying to get it under control and reverse, that you get it down as close to 0 as possible, but at the most 20 total grams a day. So this recipe is already blowing that out of the water. All right, so let's look at the next recipe I came up, or I didn't come up with, I found. And this one is the chicken pot pie with, forgive me guys, I'm not even sure what that is. Phyllo? I don't even know what that is. But anyways, there's 12 servings in this recipe, and the serving size is whatever that is. But if we can go with the picture, it's already cut up, so we can assume that that's a serving right there in one of them squares. So one serving is a total carbohydrate count of, oh, look, 26 grams. Now, I'm going to be honest, and I never liked chicken pot pie anyways, but if I did, one of those squares would not be enough for me. I would probably have ate at least 3 of those squares myself in one sitting. So you do the math on that. That's going to be, if you eat 3, like I would have, that's already almost 100 grams of total carbs in that one meal. And again, the insulin spike, guess what? I'm going to be hungry again a few hours later, and I'm going to move on to another meal that's going to have carbs in it as well. So that's kind of scary, guys. This is coming from the American Diabetes Association. You would think of all people, these people would know better than to recommend this kind of a recipe. But let's look at one more, because this one actually, by the looks of it, looks really healthy. This would have fooled me, and it's called the Mediterranean Rollup. And that really goes hand in hand with most doctors' recommendations to do the Mediterranean diet. All right. But we'll look here. So according to this picture, this is 2 servings. Okay. So obviously a half of this roll-up would be 1 serving, sorry. And so for one of these in this picture, we're looking at a total carbohydrate count of 29 grams. Oh crap, guys. And I can guarantee if I was eating that, and by the way, it does look good, but if I was eating that, I would eat both of them, one sitting, no questions asked. And so there you go. Again, that's almost 60 grams of total carbs in one meal. So if we had all 3 of these meals in one day, wow, guys, that's like 200. I didn't even do the math before this, sorry, but it's got to be around 200 plus grams of total carbs. That is insanely way too much. This is why we're staying sick. This is why diabetics are losing their legs and fingers and toes and eyesight and kidney function and on and on and on. Even if they think they're doing good and following these guidelines, they're not. Their diabetes are going to be out of control eating like this. How horrible for them to recommend this. And then here's the kicker. So if you are not aware, a normal A1C is from 4.0 to 5.6. Then a 5.7 to 6.5 is pre-diabetic, and anything above a 6.5 is diabetic. Okay, so keep that in mind when we look at this. So here's what the A1C recommendation for a diabetic is from the American Heart Association. And they say the A1C goal for many diabetics are less than 7%. So what does just under 7% get a diabetic? Well, if you look on this, it's highlighted. If you have a 6.5 or greater A1C, then your cardiovascular disease risk is you're in that range to develop heart disease. Okay. My mother-in-law recently told me that her current A1C was 6.8. Her doctor said that was really good. And so she was super happy about that. And my husband said, Mom, that's not good at all. And you can see the disappointment and the discouragement on her face. And it broke my heart because she really thought that she was doing good. But she's not. They're misleading us as diabetics. Our A1C needs to be below 5.7, and it needs to stay that way. Otherwise, even if you're just in the pre-diabetic range, your body is taking damage. And what it does is every time you spike your insulin, your blood sugar, you're damaging the small blood vessels in your body. And that's why we lose our toes and our fingers and our limbs and appendages, and we get kidney damage and all that. So we need to make sure that we are keeping our carb count low. Now, based off of all of this, I cannot recommend that you follow the ADA guidelines. They are horrible, and I am just mind blown. And they should make you mad. It should, because this is what they're telling your loved ones to do. This is what they're telling you to do, and it's keeping us sick. So, guys, I can't recommend that you follow the ADA. If you need some recipes, like I recommended in a previous channel, go to Ketogenic Woman or Chris Cooking in Nashville. Links in the description below. But, they can give you some recipes for some carnivore noodles or anything else that you might be missing from your diet, eating a ketogenic lifestyle. But these recipes are detrimental to us. All right. Well, I'm glad we took a look at that, and I hope that stops you from following the ADA horrible recipes. We can get better health if we just lower those carbs down below 20 a total a day. All right. Well, that's all I have to say in this video. It's been a pleasure, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.